I came from a small town in South Carolina, and I enlisted in the Navy as an E1, and you promoted to E2 upon graduating from boot camp. Everything else you have to earn. I work as what they call a messman, and I worked there in the galley for 4 months. And the galley officer found out that I could also do administrative tasks, so he moved me out of the galley into the administrative office, and from there I went to the personnel office, and from there I went to a ship in Boston, Massachusetts, USS Macon, an old wooden deck cruiser. Fine ship. They don't make them anymore. CA 132. And from that ship, I went to a ship out of Norfolk, Virginia, a subtender, the USS Orion. And from the Orion, I went to shore duty in Norfolk. And we travel around a lot in the military, particularly the Navy, because the Navy has the ships. But I was very fortunate. I managed to sail both the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. And I got the chance to go to the Antarctic. And in the Antarctic, I did what you call walk around the world. Most people, when you say you was at the pole, they think about the North Pole, but the Antarctic is at the South Pole. And at the South Pole, the temperature ranges around 70 or below sometimes, but you're well equipped for it. But the pole is what we look forward to doing. If you're going to go to the Antarctic, you can put your hand on the pole, about the size of a broom handle, and you walk around that. In essence, you have walked around the world. That was one of my most rewarding cruises, going to the Antarctic. And I'm going to take a moment to brag, because coming from the Antarctic, I wasn't in the Navy long enough to get promoted, but I scored such a high score coming out of there that I was promoted from E5 to E6. And the highlight of all those promotions was that to get advanced to E7, that is when you change from the old Navy white hat, and I think all y'all familiar with the white hat, to the officer type uniform. It takes at least 14 years. I managed to accomplish that in 12 and a half years. The height of the Vietnam War started on August the 4th, 1964. And when we're riding the aircraft carrier USS Constellation in the South China Sea, and that's when the Vietnamese gunboats attacked America's destroyers. When that happened, we started launching aircraft from the USS Constellation. And the next 54 days, we were out at sea. This was what's called a war zone, and we drew the compact pay and everything else because we were flying flights 24 hours a day over Vietnam. And that was another highlight, being in the war zone for 54 days. And during that time, we set the record. Since then, the record was broke. Some ships made it to 60-some days. But the ship at that time has never heard of being at sea that long. On the ship, you're pretty safe because we got planes in the air protecting us. But hearing the guns, yes, not the inland guns, but from the ship. We were launching aircraft from the ship and recovering aircraft from the ship. And the guns we could not hear, the inland Vietnam, no. But you could see the firing, and you could hear sometimes the dropping off the bombs. When the plane drops all their bombs, they came back and they reload, and they went back again, yes, because we were that close to Vietnam's waters. Well, for firing time, my job basically in the Navy, I was in administration. But when you go to war, everyone participated. I was an ammunition handler. And what's an ammunition handler? An ammunition handler, the ammunition is stored down in the belly, and I'll say the belly rather than the body of the ship. And those ammunition has to come out of there, and when you get them up on an elevator, then everything has to be done manual by hand. And then I was an ammunition handler, loading ammunitions into the guns. As an ammunition handler, I had no regrets at all because I'm there to protect my country and to follow the orders of my president. Yes, you do know and you're programmed that lives will be lost, but you can't dwell on that. You have to protect these United States, and that was our job, and the countries that we promised that we would protect, and the countries at war, and you must do what you have to do. I'd like to give a shout out to all the services, Army, Air Force, Navy, or Marines, the men and women who serve and dedicate their life to the service and protection of their country, do a tremendous job. You don't have as many of them doing careers as done before. Most of them now on average are about 6 years and they get out. Uh, the good thing I see each day is that the men and women who served in Iraq and other places, they volunteer to go back for another tour because they feel so much needed by the country and they have no remorse for going back and doing it again. But it's an honor. It was a great honor to me to have served my country, and I think I tell a lot of family members, and I've shared it with them, I would do it all over again gladly. The only thing I would change about it is I would have gone in sooner. I did not go in until I was 21, and I would have gone in earlier. But I would go through the same experience again. And the crazy thing about it, the family likes it, and they would like to do it all over again.